Rumors have been floating around that Errol Spence was leaving Derrick James in his preparation for the rematch against Terrence Crawford, and Derrick James has responded to those claims. Derrick James had originally thought that the fight between Spence and Crawford was going to come down to one key factor, and he had all the faith in the world that Spence would get it done. Derrick stated, "It's going to come down to fortitude." Spence faced a lot of things that shows he has the mental fortitude, the mental toughness, and I think that that's going to play a big role in Errol becoming the undisputed champ of the world. He said that "I'll get all these belts over here." Regardless of the car accident, regardless of the detached retina, he was able to unify the champ, have all 3 belts, and all he needs is one more. Well, that wasn't the case in the first match, and Errol tried to make sure that he didn't throw out any excuses as to why he lost.
Are you willing to do this rematch back at welterweight?
It's something I got to talk to my management about, but hopefully it's at 154.
How was this particular weight cut? Was it a very difficult one, or did you feel at ease with the weight cut?
I mean, it's always difficult, but like I said, I don't make any excuses. The better man won tonight.
Terrence Crawford believes that Derrick James is a great coach, but he thinks that he dropped the ball in their last fight. Terrence stated, "Derrick James, he did a lot of disrespect to my coach. The media was disrespecting my coach. The fans were disrespecting my coach, but he showed high-level coaching the night of the fight. I don't think that Derrick James was on his level. I believe they didn't have a backup plan. Him telling his father to step around, and that's all he was telling him. That was bad coaching for that night. Not to say that Derrick James is a bad coach at all, because I wouldn't disrespect him by saying that. He's a great coach. He's done many great things in the sport of boxing, but that night he got out-coached." Antonio Tarver definitely thinks that Derrick James and his team didn't properly prepare Errol for a fighter like Terrence, and they didn't have a backup plan. Antonio stated, "I'm befuddled by what I saw from Spence in a fight of this magnitude. He didn't have any answers. It didn't seem like he had no answers defensively, or didn't have the ability to make an adjustment and do what he needed to do to stay in this fight. I gotta be honest, they crown these guys trainers of the year and all this stuff, but this man wasn't prepared for no Terrence Bud Crawford tonight. The trainers got to take some flack for that. It's his responsibility to have his fighter ready. He had to know nothing about no defense, no head movement, no feints, didn't have his hands up. Feet all everywhere. Where are the lessons? I've been out here campaigning as a trainer, and I predicted the whole fight. Brian McIntyre didn't think that Derrick had anything of note he could say to him since he's never been in his position before."
The game, but you ain't never went up against me or my staff. So you remember something. We've been here before. You trying to get there. All right? I can tell you how it is to be undisputed. You can't tell me shit. Sit back and watch this. Sit back and watch this. I promise you something. I promise you something.
Hey man, listen man, they gotta make a new weight for you, super heavyweight. What you talking about? We know
all that you talking, all that talking don't mean nothing.
It don't mean nothing.
I can bump my guns at you, and you can bump your guns
That's
at
right,
me, but at the end of the day, them 2 brothers got to get in the ring.
That's right.
All right, then, so shut the up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
This is going to be one heck of a fight.
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Jeff Mayweather doesn't think that Spence should think about leaving Derrick James, though. Jeff stated, "I don't think so. You win all these fights with the same guy, then after your first loss, you're looking for someone to blame. I don't know their relationship to that point, and Errol is the fighter. He has to make the decision on what's best for him. I hate to see that because they grew up together, and it's kind of a slap in the face. Still, it's his Spence career, and he may feel like he needs a change. It seemed like, to me, they're looking for someone to blame." After the defeat to Terrence Crawford, Derrick James swears that he can't make any excuses, and he thinks that the better man won that night. Derrick stated, "That's life, man. You can prepare for something and it doesn't work out. You can be off, your timing can be off, and your reactions can be off. It was like Spence was walking in quicksand. That can be down to the weight. Whatever it wasn't the Errol that we've become accustomed to seeing or the same guy that's been in the gym. Who knows what it was? I have no idea, and I make no excuses for his performance, but that was not the Errol Spence that we all know and love. It was more about Errol than it was about Crawford, I believe. It happens sometimes in boxing, unfortunately. Sean Porter believes that Derrick should be open to the possibility of bringing in a more experienced trainer to help them with the threat of Terrence in the rematch.
The camp has to be honest, starting with Derrick James. Derrick has to say, what did I miss? How did I not see that? And if he can't analyze and see that how he missed it, what he missed, then he's gonna have to bring somebody else in. Hey, you know Terrence Crawford, what you think about him? And what do you think I can do with this machine right here?
This is
Earl. This machine.
Yeah, what can we do to beat that?
Brian McIntyre is tired of people saying that Spence was weight drained, and he thinks that's a direct reflection of bad coaching on Derrick's part. Brian stated, "I would say that is an excuse. Again, you know, he had to weigh in the same weight as Bud. He knew about the fight months before, so, I mean, if he was weight drained, that's just bad coaching on Derrick James' part. We all had the right amount of time to prepare for this fight. I'm not looking for any excuses or anything of that nature. Errol had no excuses. Everybody else did. Mike Tyson doesn't think that Spence should jump right into a rematch with Terrence, and he believes that he should have a few tuner fights to get back in the groove. Mike stated, Errol didn't get his whooped worse than I did with Buster Douglas, and look at me. I came back. I know he's not talking about retirement. Have a couple of fights, then come back and fight him. He doesn't even have to fight Terrence. Fight somebody else. Fight Charlo. Him and Charlo don't want to fight because they have the same trainer, Derrick James. That's bull. If you're my friend, you have to fight me and help me feed my family. That's disrespect. That's not respect. That's what fighting's all about. Helping the other guy, not putting them down. Fighting them isn't putting them down. Derrick James couldn't have more confidence in Spence for the rematch though, but he thought that the weight was going to be more in their favor. Derrick stated, I know he'll be victorious. Different situation, different weight, everything. I think my guy's a better fighter altogether. He's doing good. He's okay, man. Things happen. Life happens. Everybody wants to win all the time. Some days are not your day, and that wasn't his day. Terrence Crawford paid respect to Errol Spence after hearing the rematch had been activated, but he doesn't think that the result will be any different.
Because, you know, I think Errol is a strong-minded, strong-willed individual. I feel as if, you know, he would go back to the drawing board. He would come back stronger. He'll come back more hungrier. And he'll try to fix the things that, you know, he needed to fix to make the fight look different in the second time than in the first time. I do believe that, you know, but that's the only thing that I can actually sense because, you know, I will be on the other side.
Fans were expecting a fight later this year, but according to Showtime president Steven Espinosa, it looks like the fight is getting pushed to early next year. Steven stated, dates and weights are being discussed. There isn't a lot of certainty yet. We're running out of time this year. It could be next year. It could be this year. The rematch clause has been exercised, so I expect we'll get the details in order and be able to announce that quickly. As for the rumors of Derrick and Spence splitting up, Derrick couldn't believe what he had heard, and he turned down every notion of it. Derrick stated, I don't have anything to tell you about it because it's nonsense. When we read it, he was over at my house. He's been over 2 or 3 times since the fight, and that was one of them. There's nothing really to talk about for me. If they really knew about stuff, then they wouldn't say things like that. With the fight getting postponed to 2024, a lot of fans are hoping that it will give Spence and his team the proper amount of time to make the adjustments necessary to see Terrence Crawford in the ring again. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.